Imagine winning one of the biggest championships in your sport while 8 weeks pregnant. Then, just hours later, fighting for your life after giving birth. That is Serena Williams' real story. Not just a champion, but a game changer. How did a girl from cracked public courts in Compton conquer an elite sport and inspire far beyond it? This is Serena Williams, the game changer. Serena Jamaica Williams was born on September 26, 1981 in Saginaw, Michigan, the youngest of 5 sisters. When she was small, her family moved to the city of Compton, California, a place far removed from the manicured country club world of tennis. It was on public courts, marred by cracks and potholes, that her father, Richard Williams, began teaching Serena and her older sister Venus to play tennis, practically as soon as they could hold rackets. Richard had an unshakable conviction that his daughters would be champions one day, even if the rest of the world thought the idea was crazy. Day after day, Richard coached Serena and Venus under the relentless California sun, teaching them to tune out neighborhood distractions and focus solely on the ball. Tennis was the family's path forward. Richard even drafted a 78-page plan for his daughter's rise, audacious in a sport dominated by wealth and whiteness. While Venus was the quiet, focused older sister, Serena was the fiery, expressive one, driven by a fierce desire to not just keep up with Venus, but to one day beat her. They practiced for hours, sharpening skills and mental steel as siblings and rivals, forging the toughness that became Serena's trademark. As Serena's talent blossomed, the family moved in the early 1990s to Florida so Venus and Serena could train with pros and face elite juniors. At the academy, Serena soaked up the finer points of the game and, by her early teens, was winning junior titles. Notice served. In 1995, at just 14, Serena turned pro. Early on, she watched Venus, 15 months older, grab headlines and reach the 1997 U.S. Open final. For Serena, this was both inspiring and intensely motivating. She wasn't just biding her time, she was studying, absorbing, and fueling a competitive fire to carve out her own identity from beneath her sister's formidable shadow. Her breakthrough was imminent. The breakthrough came in 1999 when 17-year-old Serena won the U.S. Open, becoming the first African-American woman since Althea Gibson in 1958 to claim a Grand Slam singles title. A new era in tennis had begun, and she was just getting started. The early 2000s cemented Serena as a dominant force. She and Venus faced each other in multiple Grand Slam finals and teamed up to dominate doubles. Backyard battles transformed into center court duels. Fierce rivals, inseparable sisters. Each pushed the other higher without breaking the bond. Her game changed the sport. A first strike serve, explosive movement, and strategic clarity that overwhelmed opponents. She could front run relentlessly or claw back from the brink with uncanny composure. By 2002 to 2003, she completed the Serena Slam, holding all 4 majors simultaneously across seasons and rising to world #1, proof of a new standard. That milestone capped a whirlwind first act. The decade ahead would test how long she could stay on top. As the 2010s approached, Serena continued to add to her accolades. Over the course of her career, she would capture an astounding 23 Grand Slam singles titles, the most by any woman in tennis's Open era, and second overall behind Novak Djokovic's 24 as of 2025. She also teamed up with Venus to win 14 Grand Slam doubles titles. Whenever the Williams sisters joined forces on a doubles court, they were nearly unbeatable, a twin tornado of talent. And Serena's success didn't stop there. She also claimed 4 Olympic gold medals, 1 in singles and 3 in doubles alongside Venus, proudly representing the United States at the Olympic Games. With each new trophy, Serena Williams further stamped her mark on sports history. Yet the glittering hardware tells only half the tale. Triumphs, however, were matched by challenges that would soon test Serena's resolve. With her meteoric rise came intensified scrutiny. and Serena's journey laid bare deep-seated bias within tennis. Two black sisters entering a traditionally white, affluent sport met skepticism over their path, policing of Serena's body, and double standards around on-court emotion, sometimes even open hostility. The 2001 Indian Wells tournament crystallized it. After Venus withdrew injured from their semifinal, some fans hurled boos and accusations of match fixing at Serena in the final. The experience was deeply painful, leaving a scar that took over a decade to heal. She boycotted the event for 14 years, a principled stand not just against racism, but for her own self-worth, refusing to return to a place that had stripped her of her joy in victory. Serena refused to be broken. She used ignorance as fuel, embraced trailblazer status, and modeled unapologetic power and joy. A generation of young players, especially girls of color, saw her and thought, "I belong here." Even as she fought for respect, Serena fought her body. Knee and ankle injuries cost her time, but each setback was followed by ferocious rehab and another climb to the top. Her most frightening moment came in 2011. After complications from a foot injury, she developed a pulmonary embolism, a life-threatening blood clot in her lungs. She survived, but the recovery was grueling, both physically and mentally. For a time, she was consumed by fear, unsure if she would ever be able to compete at the highest level again. But she channeled that fear into fuel, returned after months away, and within a year was lifting majors again, 2 Grand Slams in 2012. A champion, she said, is defined not by their wins, but how they can recover when they fall. Into her 30s, Serena reclaimed and held #1, fending off a generation that grew up idolizing her. Evidence that longevity could be dominant, not merely durable. In 2015, at 33, she won the Australian Open, Roland Garros, and Wimbledon, falling just short of a calendar slam in New York. Her greatness was beyond debate. Her presence sold out finals and spiked TV ratings, but her impact went deeper. Serena and Venus helped drive the fight for equal prize money. By 2007, all 4 majors paid women and men equally, a landmark for gender parity and a recognition of the value she embodied. Early 2017 brought a crowning achievement. Serena won the Australian Open over Venus from major number 23, surpassing Steffi Graf's Open-era record while roughly 8 weeks pregnant. The revelation, shared that April, deepened the awe. After that win, she stepped away to prepare for motherhood. In September 2017, Serena and her fiancé, Alexis Ohanian, welcomed their daughter, Olympia. What followed became one of her most perilous health crises. Soon after delivery, she developed life-threatening complications, including another pulmonary embolism. Recognizing the signs, she had to advocate forcefully for a scan and treatment. She survived, but the experience reshaped her perspective. As she recovered, Serena learned her ordeal was far from unique, especially for Black women who face higher maternal risks. She turned trauma into advocacy, urging better care, awareness, and equity, so no mother is dismissed or endangered. Less than 4 months after giving birth, she was back practicing. By mid-2018, she was back in Grand Slam finals, Wimbledon and the US Open in 2018, then again at both in 2019, rewriting expectations for working mothers in sport. In her late 30s, Serena faced opponents a generation younger, leaning on experience and a devastating serve. Crowds sensed they were witnessing the limits of longevity being stretched in real time. She didn't capture number 24, but 4 major finals as a new mom underscored her resilience. Defeats were met with grace, adding depth to her legend. By 2022, after nearly 3 decades on tour, Serena announced she would evolve away from tennis following the US Open. She was candid about the agonizing nature of the choice, describing it not as a relief, but as a painful tearing away from the only life she'd ever known. She chose family and burgeoning ventures, reframing the end of her playing career not as a retirement, but as a shift in priorities. Her 2022 US Open matches felt like a global tribute. She fought, bowed out, and received a prolonged standing ovation, leaving on her terms with grace and gratitude. Stepping off the court didn't slow her, it shifted her arena of influence. In 2014, she launched Serena Ventures to back overlooked founders, especially women and people of color. By 2024, the firm had invested in dozens of companies, channeling her competitive energy into opening doors for others. She also embraced fashion, studying design and launching S by Serena. From the French Open catsuit to a US Open tutu, her on-court looks sparked conversation. Her brand turned that creative voice into a business and a platform for self-expression. Through it all, she gave back. The Serena Williams Fund supports education initiatives, including schools in Africa and Jamaica. In Compton, she and Venus helped open the Atunde Price Resource Center, honoring their late sister by serving families affected by violence. She's also worked with UNICEF and backed efforts centered on equity and empowerment. As an advocate, Serena has spoken out on racial justice and gender equity, and she's been candid about postpartum depression and the pressures working mothers face, helping to destigmatize conversations too often kept quiet. Her authenticity made her relatable. Willing to be vulnerable while expected to be invincible, she helped shift how athletes and fans talk about mental health and balance. Standing here in 2025, Serena's legacy is secure. The numbers: 23 major singles, 14 doubles, 4 Olympic golds, years at number 1 tell one story. What makes her a game changer is everything beyond them. She transformed how tennis is played, ushering in an era of blistering power and athleticism that compelled everyone to raise their game. From Naomi Osaka to Coco Gauff, a generation's fearless style traces back to Serena. She also expanded the sport's audience, making tennis culturally resonant and simply cool. She also changed who plays. Seeing a Black woman in major finals is no longer rare, in part because Serena showed countless kids they belonged in spaces that once excluded them. She redefined the modern female athlete, equally celebrated, marketable, and influential. Packed stadiums and leading endorsements for women rest on foundations she helped build, easing the path for those who follow. Her venture work and advocacy offered a template for multidimensional champions, encouraging athletes to use their platforms for tangible change. Culturally, she symbolizes strength, perseverance, and evolution. For young girls, especially Black girls, she's proof of possibility. For working mothers, proof of return. For anyone underestimated, proof that you do belong and can thrive. In the end, Serena didn't just play the game. She changed it, how it's played, who plays it, and what athletes can stand for. The numbers matter. The shift matters more. Think back to the girl on Compton courts, and then to the global icon she became. Her greatest victories live in the minds she opened and the doors she kicked wide open. Greatness is trophies and how you rise and lift others. Serena learned to fight and to keep smiling. In doing so, she became more than an all-time great, a symbol of courage, resilience, and empowerment.
Serena Williams will always be a game changer, her influence echoing for generations.